Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodie, and I am your host, and on today's episode, we have EV news. I do have one Tesla story. Tesla has been approved to test their robotaxi vehicles with a safety driver here in Arizona. We don't know exactly which cities they will be testing first, but I will keep you updated as we learn more. I'm sure in the next couple of weeks we'll get more information. Now, that was our only Tesla story, really. There's one other story that kind of mentions Tesla, but everything else is just standard EV news. So let's jump into that. Polestar 3 owners in the US are getting bi-directional charging. So this is vehicle to home. Bidirectional charging as a term has always seemed a little bit weird to me because you're not really charging anything when you're giving energy back to your home or energy to a specific device. But, that's the term we've decided to go with. But anyway, with vehicle to home, you can basically power your house in the event of a power outage. Or if you wanted to save a little bit of money during peak hours, you could run a little bit of that off your car if you chose to do that. Not a thing that I would be up for doing unless it was an emergency, but just to save a little bit of money here or there, I don't know if that would be worth it for me to hit my battery that hard. Although we're going to find out in a future story here that maybe my concerns are a little unfounded. Now, in order to do bidirectional charging or vehicle to home, you have to have some equipment to make that possible. And Polestar is partnering with a company called dcbel, dcbel, which is dcbel.energy. And they have a system, a home energy system called Aura. And this will convert the Polestar 3's DC power to AC power, and that will allow you to power your home. The Polestar 3 has a 111 kilowatt hour battery, so it's a nice big battery. Polestar says it can power your house for up to 10 days. Probably not in Arizona in the summertime, and maybe not in some colder states in the wintertime. But, love this. Polestar said that they could even offer vehicle degrade in the future. And I don't want to be selfish, but if I'm investing tens of thousands of dollars, whether it's through a home battery or I'm connecting my car to my house, I don't have a huge, strong desire to give the energy to the grid for free. If I was getting something for it, and I'm not talking about the pennies that I get with my solar at the moment, but if I was getting something valuable for it, then yeah, I would definitely, if the money was there and it made sense, I would definitely do a vehicle to grid. But just out of the kindness of my own heart to support a multi-million, if not billion-dollar utility company, I would have a hard time doing that, if I'm being honest. And I realize in order for this to work, you have to have the utility on board. So they probably would be giving you something, but it's got to be more than pennies. That's what I'm saying. Okay, according to a new report from Reuters, GM has told its suppliers that they need to get out of China and start building products outside of China effectively. From the report, this is directly from the report. GM executives have been telling suppliers that they need to find alternatives to China for their raw materials and parts, with the goal of eventually moving their supply chains out of the country entirely, the people said. The automaker has set a deadline of 2027 for some suppliers to dissolve their China sourcing ties entirely. This is according to some sources. GM approached some suppliers with the directive in late 2024, but the effort took a fresh urgency this past spring during the early days of the escalating U.S.-China trade war. The sources said GM executives have said it's part of a broader strategy to improve the company's supply chain resiliency, which, that makes sense. And then geopolitical tensions between the two superpowers, the U.S. and China, have left car executives in triage mode throughout 2025. The report goes on to say, not my words, the report's words, President Donald Trump's on-again, off-again tariffs and bouts of industry panic over potential rare earth bottlenecks and computer chip shortages have auto companies rethinking their ties to China, which has long been an important source of parts and raw materials. This is also something that I'm sure other automakers are working on that are at least here based in the United States. Tesla's actually looking at getting different suppliers that are outside of China, not entirely. So the cars built in China will still use parts that are largely made in China. But then the cars that are built like here in the US or in Germany, they're trying to tariff proof their supply chain, so not as much would come from the Chinese suppliers. It would come from different suppliers in different countries. All right, let's go to our next story. And I believe that I have said this on this podcast before, but I've definitely said it on other podcasts, even recently, or fairly recently, that I believe that EV battery range should be calculated at what the range will be in 3 years. Right? So if Tesla says that your brand new Model Y gets 320 miles, which is about what mine was supposed to get when I bought the car, 320 miles of total range at 100% charge, they shouldn't be able to do that because, the battery's going to degrade. I think they should have to calculate what it should be at 3 years instead of what it is the day you buy it, because it's not going to last. Like at best right now, I can get about 280 miles on a full charge for my car. And, it's wintertime. So Tesla says there is no issues with my battery when I run the little battery test in the car. But, I'm not getting not anywhere close to the range that I believe I should be getting when I'm close to 3 years out from buying it. I didn't bring that up just to complain about the range on my car.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here, wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Hi, this is Joe from Vanta. In today's digital world, compliance regulations are changing constantly, and earning customer trust has never mattered more. Vanta helps companies get compliant fast and stay secure with the most advanced AI, automation, and continuous monitoring out there. So whether you're a startup going for your first SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or a growing enterprise managing vendor risk, Vanta makes it quick, easy, and scalable. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. Get started at vanta.com.
So Recurrent is an organization that, does a lot of like real world data tests, and they put out a lot of different reports, right? And for EVs and specifically, and plug-in hybrids, I guess. So it's recurrentauto.com if you want to go to their site. They put out 2 reports. The first one is they took a look at battery degradation in 14 EV brands over the time period of 3 years. So how much did these batteries degrade over 3 years? And the answer might surprise you. It's actually surprised me. So in the test, they looked at all sorts of stuff, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. But Cadillac, Hyundai, Mercedes-Benz, Mini, and Rivian over 3 years maintained 100% of their battery. They had, according to Recurrent, no degradation. Ford had almost 100% at 99.9%. Nissan is sitting at 98.4%, although I'd be interested to see which Nissan they were testing. It probably wasn't the old Leaf. It was probably the Aria. Audi was at 96%, 96.8%. Tesla was at 96.3%. Kia was at 96.2%. Chevy sitting at 95.8%. Volkswagen drops down to 93.9%. BMW was 90.8%, as well as Jaguar was 90.8%. So, at worst, you had a 10% battery degradation over that 3 years, and at best, you didn't have any. Now, in my personal experience, I have a hard time believing this, but that doesn't mean it's not true. So the study used real owner data from when the cars were new, and the percentage was not of the range that the automotive company said you'd get, or the brand, the automaker. So if they said you're going to get 300 miles of range, Recurrent didn't use that. What they did was they had drivers go out and drive, and they used the real world range to determine, how much degradation actually occurred, not what manufacturers had promised. So while battery degradation is a real thing, it's not as dramatic of a drop as some people think, including myself. It's overstated for many modern, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, modern EVs. The differences in battery degradation between brands suggest that the battery management strategy, thermal management, software updates, and the age of the platform, newer versus older, all matter when it comes to degradation and calculating that and determining. Really, I think this is really important, is if you were buying a used EV, what kind of battery degradation or, what kind of use has that battery had? Now, in terms of EV battery replacements, Recurrent did a different study that showed that modern EV batteries almost never need to be replaced, and they're proving to be far more durable than what was expected. So, a lot of people's fear is, my EV battery will die just like my phone battery does, and maybe it lasts longer than 3 or 4 years, but eventually it's going to die and I'm going to have to buy a new EV. The reality is, EV batteries and phone batteries, while they might share some of the same chemistry, they're not they're not designed the same. They are, I wouldn't say they're completely different, but they're different enough that, if you don't need to worry about your EV battery dying after 3 years and then you have to go out and buy a whole new car. That's just not a thing. EV batteries have cooling systems. They have better chemistries. They have larger capacity buffers. There's a lot of smart software that's designed to protect the cells. And then when you look at the actual data, Recurrent used real-world telematics, and they also used owner reports from thousands of EVs. So this wasn't a small sample size. This was a fairly decent sample size. And here's what they found about battery replacement rates. And this is excluding major recalls like the Chevy Bolt. A couple 6-7 years ago, the Bolt had a major recall. The Kona had a major recall as well. It didn't look at those major recalls. They looked at batteries that had random defects, aging, or physical damage. So we're going to break this up into different generations, and that's because Recurrent broke it up into different generations. Battery replacement rates by EV generation. So 2011 to 2016, we're going to call Gen 1. And these batteries replacement rate was about 8.5%. So 8.5% of the batteries that were built between 2011 and 2016 have had to be replaced. And this is due to the fact that they are early technology, right? We're talking about the original Nissan Leaf or the original Roadster. There's often no active cooling system in those battery systems. They're more susceptible to heat and long-term degradation. And this was, according to Recurrent, this was the learning phase. And I would agree with that. These first generation EVs were early on. And then, so again, I want to remember 8.5% of those first gen EVs were replaced. Now we're going to go with generation 2, 2017 to 2021. Only 2% of those EV batteries have had to be replaced. And this is because we had a big leap in battery pack design, cooling systems, and battery management systems. The replacements were due largely to manufacturing defects. So, small defects here and there, but 2%. So 8.5 to 2%. And then we go down to 2022 to current EVs. That's Gen 3, and they have been replaced at 0.3%. Essentially no failures so far. And this is because they have a better battery management system. They have automated battery preconditioning. When you decide you're going to go charge your car, it'll precondition so that it's ready to take all the electrons. We've got improved chemistry, better thermal management. These are our most advanced batteries. They've also been on the road the shortest amount of time. So, maybe in 14 years, we might find that number goes a little bit higher, but probably it's not going to go significantly higher, right? But the bottom line is the OEMs have figured out how to keep lithium-ion cells basically safe and happy. And those improvements are, that means that most modern EVs are expected to last 15 plus years. The EV batteries are expected to last, close to 15 years. But what if you're in one of these, what if you have a new EV and you're in the 0.3% of people who need to have your battery replaced? Well, the good news is most EVs come with something close to an 8-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty. If your battery capacity drops below a certain percentage, they'll fix it. So the battery warranty is a big thing. And then what if you're out of warranty, right? Worst case scenario for like a high mileage EV, you're looking at $10,000 to $20,000, and that may not be worth it at all for you to put one of those battery packs inside your car for $10,000 to $20,000. But like I said, having to do this is increasingly rare, and then battery prices have dropped pretty dramatically over the last decade and will continue to fall. I'm not sure they're going to fall so dramatically, but they're going to continue to fall over time. And, as we evolve this technology, it's going to make, future battery replacements a lot easier. You look at like what NIO's doing. NIO has the battery lease program where you can drive into the little garage. It takes your battery out and puts a new battery in. That's awesome. Over time, maybe we won't see that here in the US, but over time, I'm sure they'll develop better ways of getting that battery pack in and out of the car. And folks, that was the whole show. So if you want to email me, you can do so. It's Bodie, Bodie, at 918digital.com. You can find me on X at 918digital. And then you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Bodie Grimm on LinkedIn. And you know what? I've had not a lot, like 3, 4, maybe 5 people in the last week follow me on LinkedIn. So if you follow me on LinkedIn because you listen to this show, say hi. I like it when people say hi, as Aaron Mankey says. Also, I'm curious because I've had a few really good guests that I don't deserve to have, to be honest, on the show, and I think I might be getting some of the LinkedIn folks from there, but I could be wrong. I'm just trying to figure it out. And then, before I go, for people who are thinking about buying EVs, right? If you're thinking about buying a new EV, don't worry about the battery replacement stuff because it's probably not going to be a factor. But if you're buying a used EV, we want to kind of try to avoid the oldest, like Gen 1 EVs as best as possible. And really, if you can afford to get the Gen 3 after 2022, you're going to be even better off. But the closer we get to 2022, the better you're likely to be. Okie doke, everybody. That is it for me. I honestly thought this would take way longer. I did not think I was going to be able to get through this so fast, but here we are. We got through it faster than I thought. I hope everybody enjoyed Veronica's interview. I sure enjoyed doing that interview. It was a lot of fun. And I will talk to you all on Friday.
Hi, this is Joe from Vanta. In today's digital world, compliance regulations are changing constantly, and earning customer trust has never mattered more. Vanta helps companies get compliant fast and stay secure with the most advanced AI, automation, and continuous monitoring out there. So whether you're a startup going for your first SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or a growing enterprise managing vendor risk, Vanta makes it quick, easy, and scalable. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. Get started at Vanta.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.